Hey, good evening, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Hope we're having a good night. Hope we're enjoying the evening, and it's been a good week coming off of Veterans Day this last Thursday. But with that being said, glad you guys are joining us tonight. Go ahead and invite somebody in, like, share, say hello, drop a message in the comments. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. You can find us, just search Reflections with Dr. Gary Harvey. You'll be able to find us on any one of those platforms. But definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate all the love. Excuse me. And special shout out to a few people here. And Queen BZ Cosmetics celebrated 1 year in business, 1 year anniversary, had a birthday yesterday. So congratulations for going strong there. Definitely like to see young entrepreneurs succeeding and moving forward and, making some things happen. But with that being said, Karen asking where D at. D slipping tonight. I don't know where he's at. But definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, like, share, invite somebody in. Definitely appreciate that. I want to give a big shout out to Vibe as well for sponsoring and really supporting what it is that we do here at Reflections and building the media hub that we are working towards. So really excited about a bunch of things. I want to make a couple announcements here, before we go forward. So as you guys know, we are trying to kind of improve the content, what it is that we do, what it is that we present, the quality of the content, being able to interact, being able to build, being able to do different things. Of course, this takes some kind of investment, right? Well, we've been going strong between Reflections and House Call for almost 2 years now, and definitely appreciate all the love and the support that we've gotten. Definitely going to put this up again later on, but we have a Patreon now. If you have enjoyed, want to support the podcast at patreon.com/Dr. Gary Harvey. You can go in there. There's 5 tiers of membership. We essentially have a subscription service that we're looking at. You will have access to exclusive comment, exclusive chats, and special episodes. Also opportunities, depending on the tier, opportunities to get involved, pick content, guests, etc. Be involved yourself on an on-air show. Excuse me, on-air shout-outs, merch is involved, all that kind of thing. And we already have some people that have shown their support that way. What this is going to allow us to do, it's going to allow us to continue to build on the platform that we have here. It's going to continue to allow us to enhance the quality, the content, the people that we can get involved on more levels. And again, like we've been talking about, we're working in the background, growing and branching out to other types of content, other types of shows, whether it be political, whether it be gamers, whether it be comedy, skit based, all those types of things. We're looking at all that, so definitely want to encourage you to get involved. Those of you that have already hit us up and supported us in that way, we truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Even you watching, sharing posts, inviting people in, liking the post, interacting with us allows us to take a bigger step. So I'm going to leave that up there for a while, but definitely appreciate what it is. Karen, again, I don't know where D's at. He's been slipping the last little bit, but hopefully he shows up. But we are tonight going to take a minute and talk about a few different, not really a few different things, but a few different perspectives, maybe is a better way to say it. And so I'm looking forward to you'll text him. I appreciate that. But I appreciate all you guys, all the love, all the support. We all do, even with House Call. House Call's kind of been on hiatus because of my work schedule and some other personal things people have got going on, but looking to come back strong with House Call starting in December, making a few adjustments there. Want to encourage you, again, continue to get involved. Send us, ideas, thoughts, topics you want covered, those types of things. We definitely appreciate interacting with everybody. Again, if you're in the local Olean, New York area, keep the teachers here in the Olean City School District at the forefront as they continue to press forward into getting, a fair contract, one that, does them right, serves them right, one that they deserve, and, allows them to do what's necessary in their roles and in their positions. So definitely want to encourage you to stay involved there as well. Also, not just in the city of Olean, but wherever you live, get involved in local politics. Get involved in what's happening in your city. Don't wait until something directly or only directly affects you in order to get involved. Get involved. Show that you care about your community, and we can help better the community that way. But tonight, I want to talk about something this evening that is something that I've been thinking about as of late. Some outside stressors, some things in my own personal life, other people's circumstances and situations. So it was just something that was kind of heavy on my heart. So, tonight, as we get into the topic, it's going to be a little more, not really, political or controversial or anything to that effect. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation and see if maybe we can inspire each other, be a little uplifting and motivating for each other tonight. But, with that being said, of course, mirrors, they got three purposes, right? To show you who you were, who you are, and help you become who it is you're trying to be. So we're going to take just a minute. We are going to go ahead and face the man in the mirror, look at our reflection, and see if we can't become better than what it is that we started the day as. All right, all right, all right. We're back. So if you caught it, the little intro video there, very simply, we are when you board a plane, right? Those of us that have flown, when you board a plane, you don't really worry about a whole lot, right? Most people, like some people do. Some people, the takeoff or the landing, a little bit of turbulence shakes them up. But for the most part, when you get in a plane, you trust that the flight attendants are properly trained to handle whatever circumstance comes your way. You trust that the maintenance crew, the mechanics, the safety crew, the checks, all those checks and balances have been done, right? You trust that the pilot can get you from point A to point B. You don't really think about, okay, well, did he get enough sleep? Did he, does he really know how to operate the plane? Like we don't really think about that, right? You get on your plane, you find your seat. Some of us, we kind of close our eyes and roll over and just kind of, try to get some rest and that type of thing. And, it's outstanding that we're able to do that. It really is. And it's a great thing. But when it comes to life, for whatever reason, we have a hard time trusting the pilot. Right? We have a hard time. Appreciate that, Steve. Thank you. We have a difficult time trying to really take things to another level within our own lives and allowing ourselves to have that peace and that rest and that relaxation, right? Why? Because for whatever reason, we feel that we have to keep our hands on everything. We feel that we have to have some level of control with everything that we come across. And, I'm here to tell you that that's the worst thing. Like, you're not the pilot, right? You're not the one directing, controlling the plane. You're the one that's along for the ride. And, I can't encourage you enough. We have to get to a place where we are trusting the pilot in this thing we call life, right? On this flight we call life. You think about it when you're on a plane, right? Some of us, like I said, a lot of us, I like to sleep. I don't know why, but I even sleep on a subway sometimes. Depending on where I'm at, and it's one of those things where, for whatever reason, I have a comfort level, right? I'm comfortable with my surroundings. I'm comfortable with the individual that's in control. I don't have to be in control of the flight. I don't have to react when things happen, right? I'm not the one that has to make those decisions. And we go through life and we begin to end up in situations, right? We end up in situations where we're not in control. We end up in situations and circumstances where we can't quite explain things. We don't really understand what's going on. And many of us, when that happens, we lean on our faith. Regardless of what it is you believe, we lean on our faith, right? And so we begin to reach out, and many of us begin to pray, and many of us begin to, but it's funny because we don't pray and we don't believe necessarily, if we're truly being honest with ourselves, we don't truly believe that everything's going to work out. Now, I didn't say okay. Let me say that one more time. We don't really believe that everything's going to work out. And again, I didn't say okay. Oftentimes we believe, especially coming from my background, my perspective, right? The charismatic Pentecostal church, you have this mentality that, oh, if I pray, I'm going to get exactly what I want. Things are going to work out exactly how I want them to work out. Everything's going to be all right. I'm going to get the desired outcome. Well, that unfortunately is not true. The name it, claim it, grab it, blab it, grab it, whatever it is, that's not supported by sound doctrine, sound biblical doctrine. Are there pieces of scripture that you have not because you ask 110%? But see, we have to understand, like, and again, you guys know me, and if you don't, those of you that don't know me, my background coming out of the Pentecostal charismatic church and being involved in ministry, many of my references are from the Bible, from scripture. And so, in reference to that, right, you have, if you recall, those of you that may or may not remember, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? The three Hebrew boys is usually how it's taught, and they were thrown in the fire, and then the king looked in and he saw a fourth person. Well, before they were thrown in the fire, they made the statement like, listen, God's fully able to deliver us, but if he doesn't, he's still God. And oftentimes in our lives, we forget that even if we don't get what it is that we want, not necessarily need. Sometimes what you need has nothing to do with what you want in life. And we have to realize that. We have to come to a place where we begin to understand that. And if we can begin to understand that there's multiple outcomes to that prayer, to that situation, to that circumstance, that at the end of the day, regardless of which outcome that is, God is still going to be God. And we still have a responsibility to live a life full of love and full of compassion and be able to reach out and accept people for who they are, right? And we would want them to do the same thing for us. But with those three Hebrew boys, right, they throw them in the fire. Listen, God can deliver me. There's one. He can show up in the fire and protect me. Or three, I just go through it. And it is what it is, right? There's those options there. So there's multiple ways, essentially, that things can be addressed. But when we begin to believe and we say that, oh, I trust God, and I listen, things are going to work out in your life. They will. It's not always easy. It's not always going to be how you want it to be, but at the end of the day, you're going to be okay. You just got to keep pressing, right? Just ride the flight. Oftentimes when you are, exactly, D, by the time you showed up, everybody wondering where you at. You usually here first, but, much love for showing up though, D. We love and appreciate you. And there is a difference between wants and needs, and oftentimes we get those confused because of the type of life that we're accustomed to living or the type of things that we are exposed to. And so we have to come to a place where we fully and completely understand that, some things that we want aren't necessarily good for us. I might want to sit in the aisle seat. I might want to sit next to the window, but that might not be what I need. Maybe that other person, if that's really what I needed, maybe I should have purchased it. I don't think y'all heard me. Let me try to help that out a little bit, right? So, right, you get on a flight and you purchase your seat and you don't really care, but then you get on the flight. Now all of a sudden you want to switch seats, right? And well, I want to sit here. I want to sit there. Come on, why won't you switch with me? Oh, my girlfriend and I want to sit together. My friends, my friend and I want to sit together. Well, then you should have purchased the tickets next to each other. You should have purchased the seat that you wanted, right? Now, in the natural, that sounds pretty cut and dry. But in the spiritual, you should have purchased the seat you wanted. Well, Dr. Harvey, what are you saying? You have to prepare yourself, right? You can't go and enjoy that flight if you're not properly prepared when you show up at the airport. You have to go through some things. You have to properly pack, make sure you have the right things. You wear a comfortable outfit. Some of y'all wear some crazy outfits, but that's another show. But so you come on, and you got to get to the place where you take that time to prepare. You can't wait to the last minute. And Karen, appreciate that reminder for him. But you got to come to the place where you understand and you realize that things aren't always comfortable, and there aren't always, you can't wait till the last minute to address some things. You got to be prepared, right? And the more prepared you are, the more at ease and more at peace you can be, because on a flight, hey, I packed everything that I need, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I got what I need in my carry-on, no big deal, right? And so you're able to sit there, but even more so, you trust the pilot, right? So let's say you're on this flight and all of a sudden you hit some turbulence. Turbulence kind of crazy, right? Most people aren't going to get up, walk to the cockpit, start knocking on the door, and try to get the pilot's attention, right? Hey, why are we going through this? Why are we going through this storm? Why can't you keep this plane steady? Why can't you deal with this turbulence? Why we got to fly through this? Why we got to do that? Right? We don't question the pilot. We allow the pilot to fly the plane the way he has been trained and equipped to fly the plane. Now in life, though, when we hit turbulence in life, we're quick to rush to the cockpit and start well, why? Why am I going through this? Why am I doing this? How come this has happened to me? How come this is going on? How about, what am I trying to be shown? What am I being taught? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this situation and this circumstance? And trust me, this isn't an easy thing to do. It's not something that's it's not a walk in the park. It's not a cakewalk. It's not nothing to that effect by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. It's difficult. It's hard because it's not always easy, right? But we seem to have more faith in the pilot of that natural plane than we do the pilot of life, than we do God, than we do our own faith. We oftentimes we get caught up, right? You've heard, many of you in the Christian church, you've heard the sermon preached when Peter gets out the boat. Oh, he took his eyes off Jesus. Okay, yeah, he did. He took his eyes off Jesus. He focused on the wind and the rain. He started to sink. But many times what we fail to realize and to recognize is he was the only one that trusted the pilot in the first place. He was the only one that recognized the pilot's voice, recognized who the pilot was. He's the only one that actually stepped up out the boat and allowed the pilot to fly the plane. See, sometimes we have to be able to take a step back for a minute, and we have to be able to understand that sometimes in life we're going to hit turbulence, right? Right now with COVID, there is a frustrating thing, right? Especially in this area, there's been several people, friends and family of myself, my family, have lost several people over the course of the last few weeks. I know we're not alone in that. And so oftentimes you take a step back and you're like, well, why? Right? What's the pilot doing? What's going on? Why am I going through? What did I do to deserve this? You know what? You may not have done anything to deserve anything. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that's okay. That same faith that you get on and, oh, it's not faith. No, it is faith. You have faith that the pilot can get you from point A to point B safely. You have faith when you get up in the morning and go to work and put that key in the ignition and go to turn that key. You have faith that that vehicle is going to start. We have to come to a place where we trust the pilot of our life. We have to come to a place where we truly have that faith in the pilot of our life. And then we can begin to rest, right? we can begin to rest. And I'm not talking about sleep. I'm talking about peace. Having a peace of mind that at the end of the day, regardless of what it looks like, it's going to be okay. It might not be comfortable. It might not be fun. It might not be exactly what we want to happen, but it's going to be okay. The pilot's going to get us from point A to point B. We might hit some turbulence, right? We might get jostled. We might get rocked around a little bit. The mask might fall from the top. And remember, when the mask drops, right, what do the flight attendants tell you? To make sure that you put your mask on first. Why do they tell you that? Because if you're not taken care of, you're not going to be able to effectively help someone else. I don't think y'all heard that. We'll try that one more time. One more time. If y'all get what I'm saying, drop something in chat. Let me know that y'all with me and I'm not just talking to myself. I didn't lose you. Y'all let me know. Say something to me now. But if you can't take care of yourself, you won't be any good to anybody else. A lot of us pour out and pour out and pour out and pour out to everyone else around us, everyone else in our life, but we never take the time to refill our own cup. And so eventually we end up empty. And when we need something, we can't take care of ourselves because we're already exhausted. We forgot to take care of us. We forgot to put the mask on ourselves first. And so when you hit that turbulence in life, yeah, you got to look out for you. It's okay to take time for you. It's okay to look out for you. Oh, well, that's selfish. No, you're not treating people disrespectfully. There's a difference. Now, if you treat people disrespectfully in order to get your self time, your me time, then that's a whole nother conversation. But you can do it respectfully. And it's important that you take time for yourself. You got to secure that mask on yourself first on that flight. And so even though that plane might be bouncing you around a lot and things look scary and you might not feel fantastic and you might not really like what's going on and what's happening, you know, there's various things that we have to, again, take a step back and get to the place where we can trust the pilot. If you can get to the place where you can trust the pilot as you do on a natural flight, or the Uber driver, the taxi driver, you know, your friend when you're in the passenger seat. Like, listen, some of my friends, Danny, my best friend from college there, Danny Figueroa down in Florida. Sometimes in his passenger seat, I was scared. But I still trusted him to get me from point A to point B. He gonna get me for this, but he gonna be all right. But I still trusted him to get me from point A to point B. I was still able to relax to a certain point. Like I didn't have to worry about watching everything in the road, right? I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm properly equipped to fly the plane, because that's what the pilot's there for. It's not my job to figure everything out. It's not my job to figure out how to get the plane through the turbulence. It's not my job to figure out how to get through the storm. My job is just to allow the pilot to direct the path to get the plane through the storm. My job is just to go through it. Karen says, learning how to do this slowly, setting boundaries without people making me feel guilty. Sometimes that's difficult, Karen. Sometimes that's difficult. And, you know, a lot of times people aren't trying to, now sometimes they are, but oftentimes people aren't trying to purposely or intentionally make you feel guilty. Oftentimes I've learned that they have their own struggles. And sometimes they deal with a feeling of being abandoned, right? Or that they don't understand the boundary because it's never been set before. And so now what they're used to, what they're accustomed to is changing. And so they just react. And it's not, you know, for some, it's not intentionally an attempt to make you feel guilty. And then there are others that do. They 100% try to manipulate the situation, make you feel bad, make you feel guilty. But you need boundaries, right? Like I don't let the person next to me in the plane climb on my lap or climb into my seat or kick my seat the whole flight. Like that doesn't happen. I set boundaries. In the natural, we set boundaries, and we need to make sure that we're setting boundaries for ourselves personally as well. You know, and it's one of those things that it is a process. We have to trust the process. You know, D says exactly. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. 100%. 100% you do. And as you begin to do that, as you begin to prepare yourself, right? As you begin to get yourself to a place where you can fully understand and you can kind of work through these different things, that when you hit the turbulence, you can hit the turbulence, even though it might shake you, right? It might rock you. You might walk away with some bruises. You might be startled, be scared, anxiety level go up a little bit. You might heart start beating a little faster, might start breathing a little harder. Those things may happen to you, but at the end of the day, you still trust the pilot's going to get you through it, right? You don't think, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. No, the pilot's going, I'm getting to point B. I'm going on vacation. I'm going here. I'm going there, right? That's the mindset that we have. And we have to have the same thing when we face this turbulence in life, right? When we're dealt that bad hand, when things aren't going the way that we want them to go, those frustrating moments in our lives. And when there's loss, when there's frustration, when there seems to be, problem and issue after problem and issue and after problem and issue, and it just seems to pile up and we begin to feel like we're about to break. Well, understand that you're not the one flying the plane. And if you can come to the realization that you're not the pilot of the flight, then you can relax a little bit, because you don't have the responsibility to figure out how to get through it. You just have the responsibility to get through it, if that makes sense. You don't have to figure out the specifics. You just have to make sure you're in your seat when that seatbelt light is on. And so you have to come to that place and come to that understanding. And once you understand that you're not the pilot, and once you understand that the pilot's not going to purposely put the plane in the ground, he's not purposely going to crash the plane. When you understand that the pilot truly does want you to get from point A to point B, the pilot truly does want you to grow. The pilot truly does want positive things in your life. The pilot truly does want you to be better than what you started. The pilot truly does want you to grow and prosper. I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you, and right? Thoughts to prosper, to bless. Once you realize that, then you can begin to sit back in that chair. You can be that passenger that leans their head back, closes their eyes, and just enjoys the flight, enjoys the ride. But you have to come to the place where you understand that. You have to realize that you're not in control of everything. You can't control everything. And sometimes that's frustrating. It's frustrating when you want to help other people and they don't seem to want to help themselves. It can be very frustrating, very discouraging. I'm thankful. I have people in my life that, they don't tell me the things that I want to hear. They tell me the things that I need to hear. And I'm very thankful for that. They help me remember that I'm not the pilot. I'm just a passenger on the plane. And my responsibility is to be the passenger and follow those directions and go through the process, right? If we can do that, then you can begin to fly in peace. You can begin to rest. You can begin to face various challenges, right? A lot of us are, we're familiar with the passage of scripture, no weapon formed against me. Well, sometimes them weapons feel like they prosper. Even if it's just a little bit, sometimes them weapons feel like they're prospering. But you're going to be okay. Sometimes the turbulence feels like it's going to bring the plane down, but the pilot's got this. Trust the pilot. Trust the pilot in the natural. Trust him in the spiritual. Trust the people that have been placed in your life to motivate you, to encourage you, to teach you, to hold you accountable. Accountability is a must for growth. You can't grow without accountability, and accountability is not always comfortable, but it's there. And you can think of the other people in your life as the flight attendants on the flight, the crew, when you're in the airport, the maintenance crew, TSA, all these people. Sometimes those interactions are frustrating in the natural, and sometimes they're frustrating in our spiritual lives, but they're all for the betterment. It's all part of the process to get you from point A to point B. You have to come to the place where you trust the pilot. So I want to encourage you, regardless of how much turbulence you're facing in your life, regardless of how much you're being shook and rocked and tossed to and fro, When you see that mask drop and you feel like it's hopeless, secure your mask first. Take care of you and trust that the pilot's going to get you through it. You have to trust that the pilot's getting you through it. Exactly. I don't want fans, Karen. I want friends. I want people in my life that are going to help me grow, that aren't going to be yes men, not going to tell me the things that I want to hear, but what I need to hear. I have friends in my life, and I try to be that same friend that, you know what, I'm not telling you what you want to hear, and you can get mad about it, we'll talk later. That's fine. Be mad for a little bit. We'll talk later. But I'm not, if I say I love you, I can't let you live crazy. If I say I love and care about you and that I support you, I can't just let you just all willy-nilly and me sit back and not say a word to you. But if I have that relationship with you, it's established. I have the ability to speak into your life like that. You can't go speaking into people's lives like that if you don't have a relationship with them. And if you haven't shown some type of care, love, compassion towards that individual, then you aren't going to have that relationship with them. So keep that in mind. But regardless of the turbulence that you face in your life, regardless of how hopeless it seems, how frustrating it seems, how dark it might seem, understand that even if you can't see, the pilot is the one flying the plane. You're not the pilot. You're a passenger on the plane. Trust the flight. Trust the pilot. Trust the process. So I want to encourage you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all the love, all the support. The Patreon link is there. I'll put it in the comments real quick. But there are several tiers of membership that you can support us with. And again, this helps us continue to grow. It helps us to continue to enhance what it is that we do, add other shows, add other individuals, improve the technology and the software, and be able to really deliver content that's worthy of the support that you guys have been given. We really, truly appreciate it. Very much so. I, from the bottom of my heart, truly, truly appreciate it. Want to encourage you guys, if you're not following us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. We're all over. Every like, every share, every follow, every retweet, all those types of things helps us continue to grow and continue to reach and continue to make an impact. And we can't do that without you. So thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Again, huge, huge shout out for Vibe. Check them out, www.vibe716.org, VIBE716.org. Check them out, the things that they're doing in the community. Can't say enough about them. Really want to show some support there as much as we possibly can. So as we go into the weekend, I hope it's a safe, productive weekend for you. Regardless of what the weekend brings your way, remember, you're not the pilot, but you got to trust the pilot. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it again. And looking forward to catching you next week on Reflections with Dr. Gary Harvey. So with that being said, I'll pray for you. You pray for me, and we'll catch you next week. Y'all have a blessed night.